The India-Pakistan war seems to have moved now, unfortunately, to a political war at home. There's all kinds of unwanted and unwarranted noise that has broken out in the last few days between Rahul Gandhi's attacks on Jaishankar, the arrest of a university professor, the Supreme Court coming down hard on a BJP minister in Madhya Pradesh, the Shiv Sena Sanjay Raut making noises about the multi-party delegations, and Mamta Banerjee fighting with the centre and winning on having her own representative in these delegations. The much needed and the much applauded unity that we saw during Operation Sindoor seems to be coming apart, which, as I said, is extremely unfortunate. I'm Barkha, you're with the Mojo story. On the program today, we start with what should have been the headline. The army is talking not just of how Pakistan targeted the Golden Temple, but is also talking about how air defense systems were placed within the Golden Temple in an unprecedented move to protect it. But instead, the headline focus is all on Foreign Minister Jaishankar and the allegations made against him by Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi began these allegations on the weekend and now he's doubling and tripling down on them. His comments on suggesting that Jaishankar leaked war plans ahead of the operation to Pakistan, that's effectively what he's saying, are now being quoted chapter and verse, not surprisingly, on Pakistan television networks. The BJP is now accusing Rahul Gandhi of speaking Pakistan's language. In this unseemly battle, the Congress has used a phrase, Sindoor ka Saudagar, accusing the Modi government of having done a deal with Trump in exchange for a kinder tariff regime. In the midst of this, there is other noise as well. There is the BJP Madhya Pradesh minister who made a communal slur about Colonel Sufia Qureshi, one of the two women military officers who became the public face of those briefings. And there is also the arrest of Ashoka University Professor Mahmoodabad for a social media post. The Haryana Women's Commission has acted against him. What are all these own goals that we're all suddenly scoring after patting ourselves on the back for having remained and presented a united front? And all of this is happening just days before the cross-party MPs delegation is meant to carry India's message on Operation Sindoor to global capitals across the world. Let me introduce our guests on the program today. The most unseemly of these battles, or the most high-pitched of these battles, is taking place between the BJP and the Congress. Mallikarjun Kharge moments ago has called Operation Sindoor a small war, adding, as I said, to this unseemly noise. Tavleen Singh, veteran columnist and author, joins us. Good to see you. Kushal Mehra is with us, political analyst and podcast host. Welcome back, Kushal, to the program. Sabha Naqvi, senior journalist and author, is with us. Good to see you, Sabha. And Rajat Sethi, political analyst, is with us as well. Welcome, everybody, to the program. Before I get to the politics of it, I really do want to play out this extraordinary statement by a senior army officer when he talks about how the Golden Temple was protected. And again, noise around this too, unfortunately, the SGPC on its own trip making its own statement. So let's start here with what has been said about how Pakistan tried to target the Golden Temple. Listen in.
So he had no legitimate targets. So in order for him to, he was more interested in creating confusion, chaos internally, and hence we visualized that he would target our civil population and our religious places of fame. And hence it is very nice, while only Karthik Shashadri has only covered one part of the story, it was very nice that the head Granthi of the Golden Temple allowed us to deploy our guns. And it is possibly for the first time in maybe many, many years where they switched off the Golden Temple lights for the first time so that we could see the drone coming. I think that's what, the Golden Temple hierarchy realized there was possibly a threat when it was explained to them. They allowed us to deploy guns to secure to protect a national monument of international fame, which is visited by so many hundreds and thousands of people every day. And hence these guns were deployed and the Golden Temple lights were switched off so that we could clearly visualize the drones as they were coming in. And that gave us a greater clarity in the sky, because as and when you saw the light, you knew what to engage.
All right, let's start here. I can say that I was on the ground in Amritsar and I saw the city. I don't know about the Golden Temple per se, but I saw the city, all of it, come under fierce attack from Pakistani drones. So that is certainly not in question. What is also not in question is that the Golden Temple went dark for the first time in its history. And certainly the military giving two now very detailed briefings of how Pakistan tried to target the Golden Temple. But as I said, unfortunate noise even around this, with the SGPC not known exactly for rational positions, now choosing to play politics even with this. So politics has returned, really fully and fiercely and unfortunately to the conversation around Operation Sindoor. Kushal, I'll start with you.
Yeah, well, SGPC does what SGPC does every single time. I mean, what do I say about SGPC? It's sad and disappointing. I mean, every Punjabi will say it's sad and disappointing, but not unexpected from SGPC. In a competition where it's the Indian Armed Forces word against the SGPC, I'm picking the Indian Armed Forces word 1,000 out of 100 times is all I can say.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. SGPC has no leg to stand on. But this, as far as the politics of the entire thing is concerned, whether it's the statements by other politicians or not, what do we say? I mean, this is
No,
the way.
even can I clarify that even when it comes to the SGPC, I wasn't asking you, oh, what happened at the Golden Temple? I'm clearly believing our armed forces, not the SGPC. My emphasis is on this politics, this political noise, this sort of noise in the strategy, obstructing a cohesive, united response to what has happened.
Listen, there is always going to be exceptions to the overall norm. I still believe that the overall response from the nation, see, politicians will do what politicians do, but the overall response from the nation has been pretty united. It's okay. Rahul Gandhi says again, Rahul Gandhi and SGPC should be the exception, and they should not be made to look at as if the entire nation is also a representative sample. These are just people who have to say things. To me, people like these are a classic case of the social media world that we live in, where attention ke liye main kuch bhi bolega. So, Rahul Gandhi is doing what any social media content creator would do, कि भाई मेरे ट्वीट को इतने लाइक नहीं मिल रहे हैं, कोई आके मैं उल जलूल बात कर दूं. Same thing applies to SGPC. So I would not agree that the nation is not united. I disagree with that premise. The nation is very much united. I just think these people are doing what they do because now the fog of war has kind of descended. So now they can be their attention seeking self. In their mind, अभी झगड़ा बंद हो गया तो चलो शुरू हो जाएं click farming फिर से करना. That's what
Right. Right. Again, not to at all to conflate the nation with political noise, and there I agree with you totally. But since this program is actually about the political noise, just days before these delegations that are meant to present a united political response are to travel to cities across the world, let me play out. Rahul Gandhi began with a tweet on Saturday. Rajat and I were then in the middle of a live show, and we both, I don't know, we both reacted very fiercely to it. We thought maybe it's a mistake because effectively he's accusing Jaishankar of treason. He's saying Jaishankar gave away the war plans to Pakistan and usse sab nuksan ho gaya and it's a crime. But he doubled down, he tripled down. Today, Pawan Khera, on behalf of the Congress party, speaking obviously for Rahul Gandhi, who really started this whole conversation, made this statement. Take a look.
इस देश के राजनीतिक नेतृत्व पर हमें भरोसा नहीं है. हम उनसे सवाल पूछेंगे, बार बार पूछेंगे. आप खुद बोलते हैं आपने पाकिस्तान को पहले ही सूचित कर दिया. पाकिस्तान को सूचित कर दिया और पुंछ के नागरिकों को नहीं किया. जो 15-16 लोग हमारे सिविलियंस मारे गए उनको भी सूचित कर देते, लेकिन पाकिस्तान को सूचित कर दिया. आपने पाकिस्तान को सूचित किया तो क्या अजहर मसूद इसीलिए भागा? क्या हाफिज सईद इसीलिए बच गया? और इस सूचना देने के बाद भारत को क्या क्या नुकसान हुआ, ये आतंकी तो आपके सामने भाग ही गए हैं. तो इसका तो जवाब हम पूछेंगे ना. ये सवाल जब पूछें तो इस तरह की हरकतें रही.
So, Tavleen, the point is that the Congress is being quoted chapter and verse by Pakistan media, which also is not the point. The point more is that there seems to be a complete lack of understanding about what seemed to me to be a very straightforward comment. The DGMO said as much. His statement has been released. The MEA has given a detailed clarification that after the terror bases were struck, it was conveyed to Pakistan that India is not interested in escalation. If the Pakistan military leaves it at that point, India will not strike any other targets. This was conveyed. Pakistan chose not to agree with that. Pakistan attacked our cities, our places of worship. India hit back. The rest is history. Then we had the halted hostilities. I do not say that the opposition is not entitled to raise questions of the government. There are many questions it could have raised, but to accuse the Indian foreign minister of treason, of leaking war plans to Pakistan, and then basically saying that he then came out and said on camera, yes, I leaked those war plans, I think is ludicrous.
It is. And I'll come to that in a second. I just want to remind you that in Operation Black Thunder in the Golden Temple, the terrorists were inside the Darbar Sahib, inside the temple. And they didn't come out for 10 days. There were no lights there. They were using it as a toilet. Okay, they were really doing a lot of nonsense in there because they couldn't, they were being starved out by KPS Gill. Okay, now let me come to, I think that Rahul Gandhi has harmed himself the most with this statement, because it's shown a complete lack of maturity, which, he's been immature often, but this has been ridiculous because he knows perfectly well that if the foreign minister was trying to convey to Pakistan that we've only hit terrorists, he was trying to stop the escalation. Now, I think that even schoolboys would be able to understand that. And I'm actually really dismayed because, believe it or not, I'm not against the Gandhi family because the Congress party is the Gandhi family. Oops, I just dropped some water on myself. No, it's
Careful
okay.
Okay.
Anyway, but the point is that, how does Rahul Gandhi not realize that at this time when he talks like this, he just sounds like a very irresponsible Indian politician. It's not about Pakistan taking advantage. Pakistan is at no position to take advantage or anything like that. But Rahul Gandhi should be better advised, at least, that, in this time, if he shows a degree of responsibility and maturity, he will gain. He already has a very poor image. And, to do this at this time, I think has really harmed him. He hasn't harmed India. He hasn't harmed the foreign minister or the Modi government. He's harmed himself.
I think that's well put. And Rajat, let me bring you in because you and I were in the middle of some other program. We were talking about Shashi Tharoor and the delegations when this comment first came. And I think we were all unanimously aghast and we thought, okay, maybe, I don't know, maybe this is ignorance. He hasn't understood something. But now it is beginning to seem to me that the Congress felt invisible in the discourse. They felt that Shashi Tharoor and Manish Tiwari being part of these delegations without the Congress naming them had taken away any talking points for them. And they went with that old adage that even bad publicity is good publicity. This is the only way I can wrap my head around this absolutely bizarre, I don't know what to call it. It is absolutely bizarre. I have no other word for it. And again, there are many questions to ask of the government. Where are the terrorists of Pahalgam? What is happening? Why is it difficult to hunt them down? Tell us how you're going to manage your relationship with the United States of America, etc., etc., etc. There are many questions. This is not one of them. Rajat?
So Barkha ji, I think I was of the opinion till yesterday that there is some kind of a collective cognitive decay that is happening as a viral fever that has spread within the Congress camp, something of that sort. Otherwise, how else do you explain? Today, now I started believing that it is out of a very conscious strategy that Congress party is trying to double down on. It's like a conscious effort. They don't even feel the atrocity and the absolute insidious nature of this remark. In fact, they are thinking and patting each other's back as if this is a grand strategy that they've come up with. As if, this kind of a meddling is going to unite the whole country behind Rahul Gandhi. He's been doing that for quite some time now. There is a close coterie of people. There is this, Jairam Ramesh, who has come out of his oblivion, and he's just having his last shot at fame Perhaps he feels that this is the only way in which he can influence the powers be, and eventually करते करते कुछ नहीं होगा तो मोदी तो हटेंगे ही, तो हम तो power में आएंगे ही. This kind of a fait accompli kind of an argument is going on within the circles of Congress party, and this is how insidious strategy aspects are getting and seeing the light of the day. I don't believe Rahul Gandhi understands an iota of strategy, or iota of optics, or iota of politicking. Otherwise, why on earth would he go and share the stage and share a photograph with Ilhan Umar? Of all people, Ilhan Umar. Shameless to say the least. If there is one person who has done repeated harm and who has, sided with forces which are anti-India forces, it is Mr. Rahul Gandhi. There is no other politician in the entire country who is seen with anti-India forces the way Rahul Gandhi has been seen. So we can go out. I mean, right from him hobnobbing with the Chinese, to him hobnobbing with all actors, including the Khalistani actors, to him hobnobbing with Ilhan Umar, and him going behind the backs and having access to George Soros. Every aspect, every actor that is out there which has anti-India interests, he's seen in the same portrait with those people. And now he's coming lecturing. So clearly he doesn't understand anything. I'm telling this repeatedly. He's an imbecile person. He should retire from public life and allow more sane politicians from within the Congress party who can act as a responsible opposition. Let a Shashi Tharoor, let a Manish Tiwari have the keys to Congress party instead of having these family errand boys coming in leading the party at multiple levels.
Okay, Rajat Sethi says that Rahul Gandhi has behaved like an imbecile politician. Sabha, let me bring you in here. Typically the BJP and its supporters, which have appropriated effectively, I would say, the nationalism conversation, are the ones who say someone is a nationalist, someone is an anti-national. The Congress has put itself in this, in my opinion, very bizarre position where it is calling Jaishankar not just an anti-national. They're actually saying that he's seditious. He has leaked these war plans. Because of these war plans, tell us how many planes came down. Why did you tip off the Pakistanis? Then you came out on camera and you said that you tipped off the Pakistanis, which is how we caught you. Now, at least 2 Congress people that I have spoken to are utterly dismayed at this narrative. They're utterly dismayed at this narrative, but they say, pata nahi kaun, kiska idea hai? Is it Rahul himself? Is it somebody else? Do you agree that actually this narrative only harms the Congress further at a time when they were pretty invisible or non-essential to this conversation, except for plaudits and applause for Shashi Tharoor and Manish Tiwari?
I mean, Barkha, you obviously have a line on this whole thing. So let me, if you'd allow me, you've had this.
Of course.
All
of course I'll allow you. Of course I'll allow you. Of course I'll allow you.
Have a view that,
no, I almost rarely have a view. Just one sentence. Just one sentence.
Gandhi, as is Rajat Sethi, everybody's entitled to their view. My view is this is the second most populated country in the world, the first being China. This is an extraordinary country, the only one where, in Canada, yes, where democracy is practiced in multiple linguistic zones. The idea of complete obedience, complete subservience to anyone would be un-Indian. And to say that Pakistan media, which is a completely hellish country today, it's completely ripped apart nation, that somehow we must all be silent and only praise the government is diminishing us. Number one, so I don't like the fundamental idea. I think we must.
But where is this idea? This idea?
That is the whole.
Not at all.
This conversation is taking place.
Not at all. I gave 3 examples. Can I just respond for? Can I respond for 10 seconds?
To me, since I heard everybody agree with everyone.
Chalo, you go ahead.
It appeared to me that Rahul Gandhi is an imbecile. Everybody, these politicians, everybody should stand here. That is how it went. It's fine. You're all freedom. You are free. Everyone here is free. In my view, Rahul Gandhi has every right to raise matters. He is the leader of the opposition. And if he's so insignificant and such a liability, don't be bothered by him. Let him say his little 2 bits. You think nobody's asking any questions? People will ask questions and it will have come in the session of parliament. So number one, it is now the more interesting thing, which I was told is the mandate of this program. The more interesting thing is what happened to Colonel Sophia Qureshi, she was positioned there, right? She was called a sister of terrorists by a BJP minister. Does it impact the unity and image of India when the BJP is unable to sack that individual? When the court makes a statement, does it impact the unity?
It does. It does. It does. It
I would like
does.
to finish my point. Does it impact when you are sending off Muslim MPs, but 184 crimes have taken place, hate crimes have taken place within India since the Pahalgam date? Does it affect us poorly? Does it? There are two things which can be done actually. Let's say we can't control the cultivated mob in the street, but when we are positioning a reasonable face, you could have sacked that minister. You could have ensured that Haryana did not arrest a professor for what the for, and you could have got the people who were trolling the Foreign Secretary of India, Vikram Misri. It is in our presentation to the world that we have seen flaws, and I have mentioned that to you. 184 hate crimes chronicled here in a report since Pahalgam.
Can I respond now?
Let's
Can I
be clear.
respond now?
And a woman who is a military officer being called a sister of terrorists outrages me much more than a leader of the opposition asking the questions of the very powerful Foreign Affairs Minister of India, who will be backed by the
Okay, Sabha. Can I just briefly? I'll just very briefly respond, and then I'll let the others come in. You said I have a line on Rahul Gandhi making this one point. I do. I don't always have a line, but 1 minute. 1 minute. मुझे 1 minute.
Everybody sounded the same.
अच्छा, 1 minute. I'm just
let the same view. Chalo.
Sabha, let me speak after. Sabha, let me speak beyond that, please. Sabha, you're not letting me speak. I've heard you. I'm just responding to you. I'm responding to your points, not to anybody else's. I also have a line on the Madhya Pradesh minister. I do believe the BJP must and should have sacked him before the court came in. And I also have a line on the arrest of Professor Mahmoodabad, which I think should never have taken place. I opened with these 3 points. I have a line on all 3 of them, and I don't think it's either or. I just think it's possible to find all of this in different ways utterly objectionable. And I find all of it utterly objectionable. I'll make one other brief point. You said that there's no complete obedience to the government. Absolutely, there is no complete obedience to the government. I listed myself 3 questions that I would like to see the opposition ask of the government. I do not think telling the foreign minister that he leaked war plans to Pakistan counts as cogent opposition. That is my line. That is my line. Not that the opposition cannot criticize the government. So now I let the others respond. I only wanted to speak for what my line is. Tavleen, go ahead.
I think you totally misunderstood what I was saying. Certainly in my case, I'm speaking for myself. Of course, he must ask questions, but he needs to ask serious questions.
Exactly.
You don't accuse the foreign minister of India of being a traitor. I mean, if you think he's a traitor, then, the story is over. And actually, I think that what the Congress party, particularly the Gandhi family, has injected into the whole political discourse is a bitterness that never existed before. Because it's war for them. And let me tell you something. On Ali Mahmoodabad, I am totally against what they've done to him. I've known this child since I've known he's a friend of my son, and his father was a friend of mine. And to accuse him, to arrest him, is outrageous. So please don't think we're all speaking in one voice and being obedient to the government. I object on a personal level to that slur. Totally.
Yeah, I don't know where Sabha used this phrase, complete obedience. I don't know where it came from.
It's not about individuals. It was the general framing of the show. So it was not directed at Tavleen.
No, but the framing of the show, I am owning the framing of the show.
Tavleen, it was not at all intended at you.
I am owning the framing of the show. I am owning it because I framed it. I am owning that framing. So you can direct it at me.
I'm arguing with it, as we all should.
That's okay. It's absolutely okay, and I have given you my response also. So I'll let the others come in. To you, Rajat. It may interest you, Sabha, that on Saturday when Rahul Gandhi made this comment, Rajat was in fact being quite critical of the diplomatic communication, for example, on the issue, right? In the middle of that conversation, Rahul Gandhi's tweet came in, and we all got distracted because we found it bizarre. If Rahul Gandhi's conversation had said, we would like to know what is happening with Trump, why is Trump making these statements? I think there's some heft in that question. I think there's zero heft in saying Jaishankar leaked the war plans. And so I think that's the framing, Sabha. But Rajat, go ahead. Your framing may not be mine. So do go ahead.
Absolutely. I think, Barkhaji, one thing is evident. What we just saw through Sabaji's intervention is that she is saying that, okay, there are two sides of the weighing scale. On one side is Rahul Gandhi. So now let me try and do some kind of a justice by putting all the shit stuff that is out there on the other scale just to balance it out. No, ma'am, sorry. Just call out what is there in the face. What Rahul Gandhi has done is not just irresponsible. It is absolute idiotic of the highest level that you could do, because he inferred a public statement that was being made by Jaishankar ji. The first 2-3 lines, I mean, a basic comprehension skill would have allowed him to understand what is being said. For instance, I can today make a claim that India, if there is any other, God forbid, any other terror attack in India that happens, India will strike first on all the terror outfits that are still there, any camps, anything that is out there in the Pakistani territory, we'll do that. So that makes me complicit with the Pakistanis. This is a basic comprehension question. It's not even a political question or not even a strategic question in the very first place. So let's call a spade a spade. I have been on live television calling out the arrest of Mahmoodabad. Professor Mahmoodabad is absolutely stupid on so many levels. I mean, even if there is an art on doing self-goal, that's what an artist would look like.
Absolutely.
The State Women Commission chief, what she has done. And absolutely a public post which would not have gathered any eyeball whatsoever. She came in and she arrested the professor and made him a hero. So she has done disservice to herself. The same goes with Rahul Gandhi. And you know what has happened with Rahul Gandhi's proclamation?
Just let it finish. I'll come to you after that. Just let it finish.
Shiv Sena UBT leaders are saying ki, see, all of this diplomatic outreach is drama. ये तो नौटंकी कर रहे हैं. That is the word that was used. And the scion of UBT, that individual is trying to say that no, these Rafale were downed because Jaishankar leaked this information. He's now copying the line of this stupid politician remark that was being made deliberately.
And I think there's no either orness. Like, I think I will just call out everything that I think is wrong. Talking about Sanjay Raut, Sabha, can you give me just 10 seconds? I'll just play out quickly this. Okay, all right.
Okay. You know, Rajat and I have been there. Rajat, do you think the Madhya Pradesh minister should be sacked? Simple.
How on earth will I stand with that? Why will I?
He has said it. He has said it before.
I have on.
He has said it before.
Obviously,
he should not even have the right to recourse of law.
I have boycotted TV during this entire episode.
Achha, 1 minute.
I'm so embarrassed by what I saw.
Let him answer.
Even get recourse of law. He should be arrested the moment he made that statement. He shouldn't even have the privilege of going to the courts.
We all agree. We all agree. But Sabha, this is what Kushal doesn't agree, so I will pause. I agree. I believe that the Madhya Pradesh minister should have been arrested. I believe Mahmoodabad should not have been arrested. Okay, wait. I'll reframe what I actually think. I believe the BJP should have sacked the Madhya Pradesh minister. I don't care whether he should be arrested or not, because I'm not a big fan of state action. So I will modify what I want to say. I don't believe anybody should be arrested lightly. I believe he should have been sacked by the BJP, and it should the BJP that should have acted, not the court. I believe Mahmoodabad should not have been arrested, and I believe Rahul Gandhi should have found something more sober to ask of the government, not this completely crazy thing that he has put now on the map, put on the table more than once. Now, Rajat said on Saturday that he felt that the minister should have been sacked. So I'm just repeating on his behalf what he's already said. I'm going to play out Sanjay Raut. I'll come to you, Kushal, right after that, because there was a reference made to the Shiv Sena Sanjay Raut talking about these cross-party delegations. Take a look.
ये एक टूरिज्म प्रोग्राम चल रहा है ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के नाम पर, टेररिज्म के नाम पर. हाँ, ये टूर एंड ट्रैवल कंपनी खोल दी है. अभी जरूरत नहीं है. 2 मांगे हैं ना हमारी, स्पेशल सेशन और ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन टू कश्मीर अंडर लीडरशिप ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. ये आप पूरा नहीं कर रहे हो, और अचानक से ये उसको दो, उसके दो, उसको एक पकड़ कर आप विदेश यात्रा कर रहे हो.
So he's calling it a tourism junket. This is Sanjay Raut, while Priyanka Chaturvedi is on these delegations. Kushal and then Tavleen. Kushal, you wanted to come in, and yes, I know what. Sorry, Tavleen, you wanted to make a sentence. Tavleen Singh first.
I agree with him, by the way. I find that we're wasting money. You know, we've screwed up the narrative ourselves. Who are these guys going to meet? What are they going, how are they going to change the world by going, we're just spending taxpayers' money on sending them on a summer holiday. I totally object to my money being spent on these guys going, who will they meet?
But you can have that point of view, but his own party colleague is on the delegation. You are not in public life. Okay, hang on. Kushal has been waiting. Kushal's been waiting. Kushal.
There's such funny inside stories about people jockeying that I have now come to Tavleen's viewpoint.
Navasi Sabha, if you wait for 5 minutes,
the reporter in me
if
has
you,
picked up all these tapes.
I will just say that if you wait calmly for 5 minutes, even what seems to be a united line, you find all the variations in that line. You put 4 Indians together, 5 Indians together, you won't get one way of thinking. Kushal, please go ahead.
So, Barkha, as far as free speech is concerned, with due respect to everybody in India, I have not come across anyone who has consistent principles on free speech in India. And I say this with full responsibility, other than me. And I'm saying this straight to each and everyone's face. Only I have a stand. Everybody knows my stand. When it comes to hate speech, when it comes to anything, free speech is what you don't like to hear. You want to sack the MP minister, sack him. Don't jail him.
I agree with
should
that.
Not
Actually.
be jailed.
I agree with that.
Sharmistha, that girl, she swore a lot. She should not have been hammered like she was, getting death threats. That should not have happened. Dhruv Rati's video should not have been deleted. But it happens in this country. So let's not talk about free speech. Is desh mein sab aise hi hai? I literally am in the process of writing a book making the case for blasphemy. किसके अंदर हिम्मत है ब्लास्फेमी को सपोर्ट करने की इंडिया में? मैं अकेला हूं जो करता है. So please, let's not talk about free speech and India. It's a pathetic state of affairs in India. I stood up for Kunal Kamra. I think he's an idiot. The funny thing is, he was like, "Arey bhai, tune mere liye support kiya. Thank you very much." Everybody thought Ranbir Allahabadiya was an idiot. I stood up for him. Everybody thought Samay Raina was an idiot. I stood up for them. So let's not talk about free speech and plaudits. Free speech it's about the principle. And I will stand up for Rahul Gandhi's free speech also. When I think he's like a low information discourse peddler. That's what it is. This country and its discourse is like that Instagram reel maker जो अपने मुंह पे केक मारता है और करके चिल्लाता है. This is the discourse of this country. Okay. This is the discourse of this country.
Wants to respond. I think Tavleen wants to respond, but before she does,
I think we got to free speech here. And by the way, I totally agree with you. I think everyone has the right, and free speech means that you have to listen to those who you do not agree with. And I stand up for that as well. But what has that got to do with this?
Because he's talking about the Madhya Pradesh minister. He's talking about...
He's allowed to say that. But if I was the head of the BJP, I would sack the man for bad behavior.
Correct. I think we all got emotional and said he should be jailed. Actually, what we wanted to say, we should all correct ourselves. We should all correct ourselves. What we want to say is that the BJP should have acted against him, and Mahmoodabad should not have been arrested. I think these two things we do agree on. What we don't seem to agree,
by the standards of sacking, almost half of the parliament should be sacked by now.
No, but it is wartime, and he made a communal slur for a soldier.
Barkha, you remember what Nitish Kumar had said last year?
Yes, in the assembly.
You remember? You think he's going to get sacked?
I think.
क्या difference है यार? क्या difference है?
चलो Sabha, you respond. The point is, Sabha.
Let's talk about the delegations. I'm very curious in everyone's views.
Let's talk about the delegations. I think. Chalo, Sabha, we'll start with you. The delegations, do you agree with Tavleen and Sanjay Raut that they serve no purpose? Is that what you're saying? Let's start there.
No, initially, Barkha, I actually thought it was a very good idea, initially. But then then there's been so many calls and so many people and so many stories are picked up. Can't stop being a reporter about people who want to be there and those who are miffed it's not there. There are certain correct principles. You should go through the party. You can't individually go and cherry pick and pick out the people. Whether Congress should recommend Shashi Tharoor and all, it's all fine, whatever
So
it is.
Mamta Banerjee got her way. Mamta Banerjee got her way on.
But the point
Yeah.
that Tableen made, I want to pick that up because I gather that
Okay.
in the old days, everybody used to scramble to go get onto the PM's aircraft if we came in the list, and then we'd go. All of that stopped. Now suddenly, this is a foreign trip bonanza on taxpayer money that I'm seeing. Because who are the meetings? Unless we know what meetings they have, as an idea, it sounds good. Again, we can also say there are a lot of Muslim MPs. So we can say again, India is showcasing secularism. So there are things, but at one level now, initially I was very supportive. I'm realizing, yeah, everybody is just gusoing in and trying to be there. And that is also happening. So I'm not sure what this will achieve.
Okay, so let's talk about. To me personally, when the delegations were announced, I thought it was a fabulous idea. Like I'll give you my response. I was like, this is who India should be. This is who we are. We must never lose a sense of this is who we are, right? But since then, Rajat, I'll bring you in first. We've seen kind of crazy politics. And I have a theory, I don't know if anybody will agree with me, that I think Rahul Gandhi made this comment on Jaishankar because they got outplayed on Shashi Tharoor and Manish Tiwari. I think there was this sense, at least this is the way the Congress tells the story, that the Parliamentary Affairs Minister called them, asked them for names. They sent names that did not include these two gentlemen. In the meantime, the government had done its announcement. The Congress felt totally outmaneuvered. They said this is not fair. And then suddenly you saw this attack. There hadn't been an attack of this kind through this time. This is my theory, that the politics has come, and phrases like Sindoor ka saudagar. I mean, these are just, personally, I think it's poor politics. Forget the right and wrong. I think the Congress is playing a hand of silly politics, but could it have emanated from the delegation politics? Rajat?
No. See, no delegation. Okay, this is my understanding of sequence of events leading up to that quick remark of Sindoor ka saudagar. See, even in the past, if, say, a Narasimha Rao, sitting Prime Minister, picks and chooses Atal Bihari Vajpayee, would Advani ji start cribbing about it? Ki nahi, mujhse nahi pucha, mujhko nahi lege? Are you petty kids who are out there on a picnic and you want to queue up on a bus ki mujhe bus mein nahi bithaya? How shameless you have certain set of articulate voices in your party, for God's sake. A Raja Brar is not an articulate voice. Can't you find a handful of people who can write proper English and who are also, by grace of getting elected into a parliament? What is there such a big calculation or a computing ability or an artificial intelligence algorithm that government has appointed to select those people? No, it's simple. It's in the face. There are only two gentlemen who've been speaking about it. My problem is this pettiness, that if this insecurity kicks in, especially when you're not gone through the meritorious process, because you lack confidence. You have this acute sense of insecurity that tomorrow, if these two gentlemen go out, they will be speaking eloquently about India. Then how will I go out and counter? How will I go out and counter within the party? And what will be my public saving face before the public? What am I going to say? This has been the real problem. They wanted to send absolutely low profile people who couldn't go out and utter a word, and it won't become a news cycle. That's the real politics. Now, therefore, I don't agree that Congress should alone be the ones who should. And after this petty remark that he made against Jaishankar, do you think that the MEA would, in their senses, go out and reach out to this person who doesn't even deserve to be the LOP? Why? Why on earth should MEA be obliged to reach out to him and write a letter to him? Sir, please bata dijiye kin naamon ko leke jana. I don't care. Even in the past, if there have been precedences, you tell me, where has Narasimha Rao written a letter to the BJP asking, give me a name? He found Atal Bihari Vajpayee to be the most cogent voice, the most eloquent voice, and he sent them. Yeah. And coming to the last point of what Tavleen ji mentioned, why it is not picnic. See, these names have been announced. It's not like the moment the names were announced, flight tickets were booked and they were sent out. No, planning is being done. They would be planning. There would be meetings put in place clearly. And I discussed this at your show at length. Our bureaucracy, the diplomats which have been posted outside did not do a good job. I am firmly of the view. A huge void was left on the narrative side, which we could have done a far, far better job. Look at even in the Ukraine-Russia battle, the Ukrainian ambassadors around the world. I'm not going by the end results, but the attempt was made. In our case, barring 2 or 3 instances, I did not see the amount of the amount of effort that should have been made, right from the UN to US ambassador going out and speaking at multiple platforms and not making it a Kashmir issue. It was never a Kashmir issue. It was always a terrorist issue. Who made
I
that
agree.
point? And I think this members of parliament, being politicians, bring more heft to it. They bring more weight to it. And I believe tomorrow, if they go and they meet the leaders of the US Congress and the US Senate, they will have some weight where they will, as equals, go out and negotiate and present India's point of view. And same goes, our Muslim leaders, Muslim members of parliament are going to go to Saudi and to UAE. They'll present a counter opinion. This is being peddled by Mullah Munir. It is something which has to do about our sovereign right to respond. And I think this is where our politicians, we expect them to do a better job. Or we can absolutely be hopeless about this country and our state of affairs of Indian politics. There are two options only.
Okay, that's for anyone who thought that Rajat is not going to criticize what handling, you just heard him there. Kushal, you wanted to respond, and then Tafri. Kushal.
See, I am in a unique position where I live half of the time outside the country, so I actually kind of understand this from the importance of what has been done. I actually concur completely with Rajat about the hopelessness of the MEA as far as the consulates outside India are concerned. Ask me, who lives in Canada half of the year. तो मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि क्या क्या होता है इधर. I would need a whole day to narrate what happens over here. The communication can only happen. So I'll narrate an example. So, in the India-Canada standoff, for example, every time X would be said, they would be like, but your politician over here says that. So I think this time what the government of India has done, and I'm glad they have taken a leaf out of what the Congress did years ago. There is no harm in taking a leaf out of something that someone else has done in the past. What happens is, when you send a group of people who are diverse and who don't belong to a single political party, how the Western mind and the Western body politic works, they get stumped on that. And that's when they get convinced. And yes, it was the job of the MEA to do this. Then these politicians would not have been sent. It was the job of our ambassadors to do it. Not everybody is a Dorai Swami who can communicate the way he does. Not everybody can. मैं तो नाम लेके आपको बोल रहा हूँ. आपको देखना चाहिए यहाँ पे कनाडा में क्या होता है. तब इसीलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ, ये चीजें बहुत जरूरी होती हैं. I don't agree that I ideally, yes, taxpayer पैसे पे नहीं होना चाहिए. But what do you do if our foreign officers are not doing a prim and proper job? And it is not a BJP or a Congress thing. This is a malaise that has been happening in the MEA for years. Ask people who live here. They will tell you what happens. Ask people who live here in Canada, in America, in UK.
So what is your hope?
Canada तो जा नहीं रहे हैं. Canada, China नहीं जा रहे हैं. जहाँ तक मैं, if I'm mistaken, please correct me.
Canada जाने की जरूरत नहीं है ना, वो कोई country ही नहीं है, अभी seriously नहीं लेता उसको कोई.
I think the larger point, Kushal, is, or the question I have of you is, what is your hope from these delegations? Yes.
Well, the hope.
What is your hope?
So from what I understand, whenever these delegations go, they meet US congressmen, they will brief US congressmen, and eventually that is what is going to be your policy discussion. We are in the process of signing a trade deal with America. What kind of negotiations are the Americans going to pull off? You wanted to leave it all to the MEA? Or you rather have all these politicians doing it?
It's not MEA which is navigating, yaar. We are getting our facts mixed up. Somebody else is doing it. But anyway, let it be.
You will be surprised how much the MEA tries to get involved in things. You will be surprised.
Flashing out details about the tax thing. MEA nahi kar raha wo. So isme we should have clarity.
I think there is general disappointment being expressed at the diplomatic narrative. Tavleen, because your column suggested something similar about the military gains, but the narrative gaps, who do you blame for that? Because you also have to understand that you're dealing with a 30-year-old trope. Western media continues to position it as a Kashmir dispute. You remind them of 2611. What does it have to do with Kashmir? You ask them about Lashkar and Jaish, they look at you blankly. So there is institutional ignorance and insularity that you are dealing with. You are dealing with transactionalism in Western capitals. You're dealing with Trump's craziness. let's not say that, our diplomats have a very easy job either. That's all I'm saying in their defense. Tavleen, go ahead.
Okay, I unlike Kushal, I don't live abroad, but I've often been abroad when an Indian delegation comes in, even when it's led by the Prime Minister. It's often ignored by the Western media. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, the government here should have made their case better so that it would have been picked up by the Western media. Most of them are unimportant MPs, nameless guys who nobody is going to meet. You think that Congress, the leaders of Congress and leaders of these other parliaments have all the time on their hand to meet an obscure delegation from India? They don't, and they won't. So that is why I think it's a waste of time. A waste of taxpayers' money.
But I mean, there has to be some counter messaging, no? Don't you agree
Yeah,
that there
get
has to be
your
some
embassies to do their job. If Doraiswamy can be on CNN making an excellent case for India, get the other ambassadors. What are they doing? We're paying for them to do their job. Why are we getting these MPs to do a job that it sounds as though they're just going on a junket?
Let's get responses to this.
Get your ambassador.
Kushal, do you think this is and Rajat and Sabha, anyone who wants to comment, do you think that this messaging, in the meantime, by the way, Congress has just released this meme that Kushal pointed me to, and this is where I think things get, murky, for lack of a better word. This is a meme that they've released on Jaishankar, where now Modi, the Prime Minister, has been pulled into it. And Jaishankar is ostensibly talking to the Pakistanis, and Modi is telling him to speak even more loudly. And Jaishankar is telling the Pakistanis, stay safe, right? And Sama, while I agree with you that who cares what Pakistan media says, the point is that you do, I don't know, somebody, Tehseen Poonawala said, oh, why not Priyanka Gandhi in the delegation? And I said, you really think Priyanka is going to be in the delegations when this is what her brother is leading the assault with? Both of these things don't work together. And I think these delegations have been muddied by the noise at home. These delegations would have worked had we held on to being united and not scored all of these various own goals that we have. Let's take final comments. I'll start with you, Sabha. You wanted to say something? Let's start.
No, I just want to say that it's not just the US. Okay, because I'm ambiguous on this. They are going to other countries. Some of those countries are not big, powerful nations. Yes, then I don't think they're going to Canada or to China. Let's put that out there. So they're going to other countries, and maybe we'll get some goodwill. Maybe somebody, some of those countries. So let's see. I mean, now they're going, so I don't think it can stop. So let's just hope for the best. I think the Shashi Tharoor delegation goes to the US. The others go to Europe, and in France. I mean, all of us know, sitting on this panel, relationship with France is linked to other things. It's not going to be some public relations by a bunch of MPs. Relationship with, there are certain countries with which you have long-standing relations based on other things. And it's not all US, it's not all Congress. That is just one delegation. There are 7 of them fanning out across the world. But what is more interesting, what I will say, is that I believe that the Congress could have asked questions more about the Trump declaration. That is a very valid question to ask. So I wonder why they didn't go for that and they went for this. I'm just asking.
It's a great question. It's a great question, and we
fuck with that as an opposition party, and and that story they could have just gone and asked Amber and Tongs. Anyway,
okay,
that's it.
Okay, Rajat, last thoughts, Rajat.
Well, even that question, that Trump question, is also not a good enough question. Primarily because if the world knows Trump's erratic behavior, he can call any country whatever he deems fit. He doesn't believe in what sovereign nations stand for. He can call Greenland as his potential territory, Canada as a 51st state. So let's leave Trump aside. I believe serious policy makers and policy thinkers in the US, everybody has come out and said that what Trump has done, he has really harmed Indo-US relationship and pushed it back by a decade or 2 decades. Yeah. That's the state of affairs. So let's leave Trump aside. Now, coming back to this latest tweet that Pawan Khera has done, I think he has finally put a nail on the coffin of any kind of bipartisan positioning on external issues. Now, I don't think the onus is with Prime Minister Modi or with the BJP to take Congress into confidence to anything in the future. As long as these people are at the helm, Jairam Ramesh, Pawan Khela, Rahul Gandhi, BJP should not engage with them for any appointment, even if it is, say, any official like a CBI where you require the attendance. Shun him completely. He is an irresponsible character who should not be given the weightage, the weightage that his office occupies. And after this, this is what I call imbecile. This is what it is, a live example of what we are seeing.
And that is my point, that whatever bipartisanship, Tavleen, that I was hoping for in these delegations, I feel is now evaporated with all of these squabbling, all of this crazy squabbling at home. The whole purpose of these delegations was to say, you can't divide us. We are on the same side on what has happened. We see it as an act of terror. And whatever our arguments are, they will wait for another time and another day. I think all that is gone. Tavleen, last thoughts?
I wish we had discussed Ali Mahmoodabad a bit more.
We should. We should.
What has happened is an outrage. It is. I can't think of. I mean, I've been so upset over that. This is a guy. He's a scholar. He's a poet. He's a very distinguished young man. And what do? You throw him into jail over some stupid complaint in Haryana? I think that if the Congress needs to ask itself some questions, the BJP needs to ask itself some questions as well. This is, this is proof that they cannot handle any form of criticism.
I think there is no ambiguity in my mind that multiple things have happened that are wrong. And that's my point, Kushal, that the hope, I know you're going to say the country is one, the political noise should be ignored, but the world is picking up on these things. The media outside of India anyway isn't really getting your country with all its granularity. They anyway have these tropes within which they locate you. And then you go and feed those tropes. All of it is feeding all of these tropes. Rahul Gandhi is feeding the tropes in Pakistan, and the rest of it, which is wrong, both Vijay Shah and Mahmoodabad, no question. One shouldn't have been arrested, the other should have been sacked. Wrong. All of it feeding something that weakens the India narrative at this point. All of it. From Rahul Gandhi to Mahmoodabad to Vijay Shah. Last word to you.
So as far as free speech is concerned, like I said, everybody should be allowed to behave the way they want to, as long as the harm principle is not violated. And I mean physical harm. Other than that, I feel India is pathetic. And I say this with full responsibility. India is pathetic when it comes to free speech. Indians don't have any wherewithal or any spine as far as taking dissent is concerned. And it cuts across all political parties. All of them. Then the BJP is equally guilty in that. Now coming on to this, I disagree with you guys that, because of the squabbling at home, this thing has been, useless. It's not as if, US congressmen are sitting on Twitter, Aaj Pawan Khera ne kya tweet kiya. They also don't. You can't say that they ignore us and then they follow our Twitter at the same time.
Sure.
They don't. Okay. So they don't know. So for them, they still look at us as a wide range of people going there. We should judge the delegations post their rounds are done through quantitative methods. That's the fair way to do it. I completely agree with Tavleen that yaar taxpayer money pe kyun waste kar rahe ho. That is something that, for me, I'm a libertarian. I hate government as a concept. So for me, it's a problem. But the point is, we can only judge these delegations after they have come back over a period of a few weeks. But yes, what happened to Mahmoodabad, or the way Dhruv Rathi had to delete his video, or that girl who was making a big, videos where she was swearing Sharmista in Pune, it is all a tragedy. Free speech is not existing in India. So I have always urged every Indian that if you really care for freedom, the first thing you should start with is getting used to listening to things that you don't like to hear. But unfortunately, that's never going to happen in India because we have a crisis of rights consciousness in India. Humko nahi malum rights kya hote.
Okay, we leave it there. It has been fiery, yet it's been civil. It is the way we should argue. There is no censorship of thought on this program, or so we try. And there should be no censorship of thought anywhere, as long as you're within the bounds of of civility. The opposition could have asked some very good questions and tough questions of the government. My own view is they didn't choose to ask those questions. The BJP has scored 2 fantastical self-goals with what they have done by not taking action against the Madhya Pradesh minister and with the arrest of Ali Mahmoodabad. All of these things can be true all at once. Thank you so much, Tavleen Singh, Sawa Naqvi, Kushal Mehra, and Rajat Sethi. Thank you for watching to our audience. See you tomorrow.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Voter Story and support independent, robust journalism.